All right. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you once again for joining us today. My name is Donna Walwyn, and I am part of the management team at the Fairway Group, where we provide our clients with one-stop access to personal and financial mobility, a hedge of protection against instability, whether that instability is geopolitical, fluctuations in currency, or, as we've seen recently, the effects of a global pandemic. We do so by providing our clients with more than just a second passport. I welcome you and thank you for joining us. Today's going to be a fast-paced one-hour journey to learn about Citizenship by Investment in the Twin Island Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Learn about the Fairway Group's current government-approved CBI real estate project and our holistic offering for ensuring that our clients get more than just a second passport. I've had the pleasure of meeting some of you before, in person, in Abuja, in Lagos, in March of 2020, just over a year ago. We were able to speak face-to-face. We were able to share a meal together. We were able to travel without proof of a negative COVID test or 14-day quarantines. When we traveled to Nigeria in March of 2020, we already knew about COVID-19, of course. I remember getting temperature checks and hand sanitizers whenever I entered a public place and into my hotel. What we didn't know was the magnitude of the pandemic and that we were on the very edge of it. When I left Nigeria on March the 13th, plans were well underway to return in 6 weeks. Within days of that return trip, world borders started closing one after the other, and all of us learned firsthand what it meant not to have flexibility of movement and what the impact that had and the impact that had on our personal lives and our ability to conduct business. The pandemic has reinforced for each of us how critically important it is to have options, to have the ability to pivot, have the flexibility to protect your family and your wealth in times of trouble. We at the Fairway Group are optimistic that we're nearing the end of the public health aspect of COVID-19. I've already had my first shot of the vaccine. I received it on St. Kitts much sooner than I would have been able to receive it anywhere in North America, and I'm scheduled for my second shot within the next couple of weeks. The global health crisis is ending, but what about the next one? Or the next occasion of political unrest that turns to violence? Do you have a plan for the next time that your mobility, your safety, or your security is compromised? Let me end these closing remarks where I began. The Fairway Group offers more than just a second passport. We offer a holistic preparedness plan to help you weather the next wave of instability by providing you with full rights to citizenship in a safe and stable jurisdiction, flexibility of travel, a sound real estate investment, and the opportunity for financial mobility. That preparedness plan begins with what Forbes has called perhaps the world's best second passport. And it begins with citizenship in the Twin Island Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis in the Caribbean. I'm not going to take the time this morning because we are running a quick and tight hour to introduce you to each of the Fairway founders. You can read their impressive bios on our website. And L'Oreal, maybe you can just put up their pictures, please. And I invite you to do so. You will meet the other two members of the Fairway management team in the second half of this webinar. I want to just note a couple of quick administrative matters. You will have noticed in the agenda that we have 2 short question and answer periods. If you have a question, please use the chat function in this webinar to enter your questions, and we'll try to get to as many of them as possible. We will also have 3 polls that we will be conducting throughout the hour, so please take the time to respond and participate. I'm now incredibly honored introduce you to our next speaker, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. We are so grateful to the Prime Minister for his steady hand of leadership since 2015, and even more so for his leadership during the pandemic. Prime Minister, you are welcome. I turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Donna, and greetings to all who are tuning in to this webinar. It is for me a special pleasure to welcome all of you to this discussion on the St. Kitts and Nevis' Citizenship by Investment program. It is the oldest program, and we are proud to say it's the best program in the world. Every other program that has had a Citizenship by Investment program has basically been a permutation of the St. Kitts and Nevis program, which was introduced way back in 1984. The fact that we have been going since 1984 until now speaks to the longevity of our program and that we have staying power. We have staying power because over the last 30 plus years, we have made the necessary reforms that would help to make our program the strongest and the best program within the Caribbean and, we dare say, within the world. I want to recognize not only the executives of the Fairway Group of companies, but in particular to bid welcome to Chief Anthony Igdigby and all the others that are there in the Nigerian continent. And as we speak of Nigeria, I reminisce on my first visit to Nigeria when I attended then a Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting at Abuja. I had a very delightful experience there, seeing persons who I had to remind myself couldn't be in Nigeria. They were our kith and kin, so visible on the streets of Abuja. So I have very fond memories. And in that regard, I want to extend a very personal invitation to all of you to come visit our beautiful country, savor our cultural delights, and have a very spectacular experience in one of the truly gems of the world, which is St. Kitts and Nevis. Of course, we have several hotel properties ready to receive you, and they are global in terms of their branding. The Marriott Hotel, for example, the Four Seasons, the Hilton Hotel, the Kittitian Hill Resort, all these and more are available here to cater to your very needs. I want to thank the Fairway Group for bringing us all together today on this important Zoom meeting. The Fairway Group development in Frigate Bay is our newest government-approved Citizenship by Investment project, real estate project. And I'm advised that the team leading the Fairway Group is itself a fantastic collaboration between the Eastern Caribbean, of which St. Kitts and Nevis is a vibrant member, and Nigeria. And so again, I extend greetings to my brothers and sisters from Nigeria. Why am I participating today? And I want to say that I have come to be part of this program for a simple reason, not just to support the Fairway Group development and project in St. Kitts and Nevis, but more importantly, to give support to the strength, the vibrancy, and the authenticity of the St. Kitts and Nevis investment program, and to say that the program is fully supported by the government and people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And we stand by it. We have had the vision over a generation ago to determine that for the advancement of a small island state, we would need an additional pathway, if not pathways, to assist with our growth and development. Being a small country, there are not many pathways that one can try. We can say on hindsight, some 30 plus years after, that our CBI program has been a godsend. And it certainly has, over the last 10 or so years, ignite the investment in St. Kitts and Nevis and put us on a solid path, so that prior to the COVID-19, among Caribbean islands, St. Kitts and Nevis boasts one of the highest per capita GDP in the entire Western Hemisphere. We boasted that we had the strongest fiscal record of any government after some 5 years of record surpluses being delivered in our country. And that strength in part had been due to the success of our Citizenship by Investment program. It is the preferred program for the discerning investor. And we want to thank those who are discerning enough to look at all programs, look not just at the pricing, but look at the status of the country. You will find St. Kitts and Nevis to be a small island state towering way above all other in terms of our economic performance, in terms of every indicator of national development. You look, for example, at the United Nations Human Development Index, and you see St. Kitts and Nevis stands tall in all indices that are important to life and human development, and education, and per capita income, and healthcare, of participation of our people in secondary and primary schools. We are top-notch. We are among the best. You look at our performance as a democracy, Westminster-style democracy, and you'd find that we are among the most stable of democracies. Government change regularly or where needed. And of course, we do so in peace and in harmony. In our system of democracy, there is no waiting period. The electorate makes a determination, and within days, a new government is sworn in. That is how we do it here. We have no long in-between stay for confusion to take place. And we are very respectful of the wishes of the electorate. The World Justice Project has recorded that among our peers in the Caribbean, St. Kitts and Nevis is among the best performer and the rule of law index. What does that mean to you? Is that justice is available and justice is alive and well in the context of St. Kitts and Nevis. Civil liberties are cherished, and where necessary, the criminal system works. The government itself is part of the process of adherence to the rule of law, and in particularly, we give strong support to property rights and the respect of those property rights. Therefore, any investment in my country will be buttressed and supported in the context of our Constitution and the good governance agenda in St. Kitts and Nevis. So for me, it is more than just getting a second passport. As important as that is, in an era of turmoil, in an era of COVID-19, yes, that is an important benefit to those who hold a passport. If you hold a passport for St. Kitts and Nevis, more than any other passports within the Caribbean community, you have visa-free or hassle-free access to over 156 countries. That is more than many other countries surpassing us in size can accord to their citizens. So there is, of course, a direct benefit. But we want our citizens to be genuine contributor to progress and development in my beloved country. And that is why we speak to the discerning investor who want to add value, who want to see his country shine. So when the flag of St. Kitts and Nevis is flown, you can stand proudly at attention, recognizing that this is one of the best managed small island states in the world. So I welcome you to become part of the large number of persons who have already invested in the St. Kitts and Nevis real estate option of our program. And you will join a large group of Nigerians who over the years have participated successfully in our Citizenship by Investment program. But of course, you join an entire world. Chinese, Russians, Australians, Canadians, citizens of United States and of the United Kingdom, citizens from Latin America, all of them who are discerning and thoughtful enough to do the research when they need a place to go for their second citizenship, they have chosen St. Kitts and Nevis. And we have over the years been able to build a thriving economy in St. Kitts and Nevis. We proudly say that we are the best man in small island states, not just in the Caribbean region, but within the world. And so we invite you to come help us build a better country, build a country that is strong, build a country where our citizens are offer a very good quality of life, build a country where our citizens can self-actualize. That is what our dream is, a prosperous, buoyant country holding its own as a responsible member of the international community. With those words then, I again bid all of you good participation in this webinar, extend the invitation to you to come visit us in St. Kitts and Nevis and see and experience for yourself what an awesome experience it will be to live, work, and do business here. I must remind you finally, because Donna took us there, about over the last years, the volatility of the world in relation to COVID-19. Picture for yourself a small island state that has been able to do what so many larger states have failed to do. By count, we have the smallest number of COVID-19 infections. Around the world, we are among the unique few countries that have had no deaths, 40 infections, no deaths at this particular moment in time. And we have managed to do which large societies like the USA have been able to do. Since last year, our students, our young people, from early childhood up to college level, are back into face-to-face educational experiences in their classrooms. Since last year, our churches have begun in-church worship because, again, we give value to religious freedom, and we're doing these things with COVID-19 compliant protocols. Our country then is prime and ready to engage the world again, to do so safely, because we have managed the most difficult part and there is now light at the tunnel. We have already vaccinated about 25% of our target group. We started our vaccination program just 4 weeks ago. That is an enviable record in terms of our ability to get our people to do the right thing and to do so voluntarily. So we are a safe country. That is why over the last couple of weeks, the MSR productions from the United Kingdom chose St. Kitts and Nevis to produce 6 films. That is why over the last 6 weeks, we had here doing a film at our Park Hyatt Hotel, the Below Deck Operation movies taking place. So all have come to St. Kitts as a safe haven. That is a bonanza at this particular moment for those who would choose to invest in my beautiful and beloved country. Come partner with us and be a responsible citizen. Thank you for paying attention to this particular dialogue, and I will thank you even more should you choose to invest in our Citizenship by Investment program. May God continue to bless you all and to keep you safe.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister. If I wasn't already a citizen, I would certainly become one now after those very inspirational and powerful words. I want to introduce our next speaker, who is Les Khan. But before Mr. Khan speaks, we're going to do our first poll of the day. So can we have the first poll go up, please? And a reminder that if you have any questions, please do put them in the chat. While we wait for the first poll, Mr. Khan is the CEO of the Citizenship by Investment Unit, which is the government agency that regulates and oversees the Citizenship by Investment program. Poll is in progress. We just have a few seconds. Please vote. Let's see who is leading here. Personal trial. Oh, we're changing the lead. Okay, we have 10 more seconds. Are you voting? Three more seconds. One more sec. Okay. So what's interesting, it looks like we have a bit of a tie between Escaping Future conflict with access to a safe and stable destination and personal travel. Very interesting. Thank you so much for your participation in that poll. And we have a winner. We've got a winner. Escape future risk and conflict. Thank you so much. Mr. Khan, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. Good to see you again after quite a while. Hello to everybody in Nigeria. Special thank you to Chief Idigbe and the Fairway Group. I do recall that visit to Nigeria in March last year, and I did go into quarantine at that point in time, and I am in quarantine again at the same point in time. So it goes to show the diligence and the seriousness that St. Kitts puts on its COVID preparedness and action. And I am, because I traveled, I am in quarantine for a couple of weeks. It is my pleasure to talk a little about the St. Kitts and Nevis program. And I am here to speak about the technical side of the program. What are the specifics? What are the investment opportunities? And why would you want to invest in St. Kitts and Nevis? The Prime Minister was very explicit in talking about the program being the legacy program. We are also known as the Platinum brand. And with the Platinum brand comes the uniqueness of the interest in St. Kitts and Nevis. So St. Kitts and Nevis, prior to the COVID pandemic, was one of the most outstanding and growing tourist destinations in the world. It is known for being the oldest program, and as a result, the number of interested parties in St. Kitts and Nevis has grown tremendously over the years. Our population of applications come from China, significant Middle East, Russia. We're beginning to see a lot more interest in Africa, coming from Africa, and also coming from the US. So it's an expanding program, and we continue to grow as we go forward. St. Kitts and Nevis is ranked number one on the OECS in terms of, and this is the Eastern Caribbean countries and those countries that have citizenship by investment programs, in terms of its ranking in several passport indices. In the last Henley and Partners Passport Index, we were ranked number one in the OECS and number two in the Caribbean, with over 156 countries having access to visa-free and visa upon entry. This gives us a significant advantage in terms of what we offer to our clients. Several benefits of having a St. Kitts and Nevis citizenship. There is the tax advantages, which are no personal withholding tax, no capital gains, and no inheritance tax. As the Prime Minister mentioned, there is social and economic stability that has existed throughout our program, and we continue to lead in the Caribbean and in the world in this area. Unlike some of our other programs, St. Kitts and Nevis has no residency requirements. In other words, you can apply for citizenship in St. Kitts and Nevis through your local agent and representative, and you do not need to come to St. Kitts to present or to obtain the actual citizenship. This feature allows us to be ranked very highly in other indices around the world. Under the Citizenship by Investment program, you would be interested to know that the resale of property under the CBI program, and this is under the real estate option, can be done after holding the property for 5 or 7 years. I'll talk a little about this when I get into the specific pricing of the products. We also offer the ability to add dependents between 18 and 25 who are full-time or tertiary levels. students and those who are up to the age of 30. I may also add that in recent legislation, we added the ability to add dependents along the lines of siblings. So siblings can be added. That's the brother or the sister of the main applicant who is up to the age of 30, who is single, and who can prove dependency on the main applicant. This gives us a wide opportunity for you, your clients, to bring in as many people in the family and provide citizenship, and that security-based option that is being given. We are also providing the ability to add qualified dependents after citizenship is granted. And we also offer the ability to provide financial sponsorship to an applicant who may not have all of the money but for the investment, but can bring someone in as the financial sponsor. This financial sponsor must go through due diligence with the unit and must show proof and source of funds in order to qualify as a financial sponsor. St. Kitts and Nevis is a country that speaks English. It's very close to major cities, 2.5 hours from Miami, or roughly 3 hours from New York. So this gives us pretty easy access and a high rate of literacy on the island, over 98%. One of the things that St. Kitts and Nevis is known for is its broadband access, and we have high levels of access throughout the island. When you're in the Caribbean, you would recognize that we have many different nationalities, and St. Kitts and Nevis is no stranger to this. There are many people of different nationalities and culture in the region and in St. Kitts and Nevis, and this makes it an ideal location for tourists and for also conducting business. In speaking about our various investment options in St. Kitts and Nevis, we have the real estate option, which is a minimum investment of either $200,000 or $400,000. With a $200,000 investment, you have to hold the property or the share that is being offered for a period of 7 years. With $400,000, you have to hold it for 5 years before you can sell it. In terms of the Sustainable Growth Fund, there is $150,000 as an investment in the government's fund. This fund, $150,000 for a family, for a single person, and up to $195,000 for a family of 4. But we have passed legislation recently that allows us to have a limited time offer. So for $150,000, one can bring in a family of 4, and this special offer will go to the end of the year. As I mentioned, the real estate option is either $400,000 or $200,000. The government fees that are charged for the real estate option is $35,000 for the main applicant, $20,000 for the spouse, and $10,000 for any additional dependent up to the age of 30. Now, in the addition of siblings under the real estate option, it's, as I said, up to the age of 30, and it's $40,000 for the addition of a sibling under the real estate option. And this is either for either the $400,000 or the $200,000 option. With all applications for St. Kitts and Nevis, you must undergo due diligence, and there's a due diligence fee that is paid at $7,500 for the main applicant and $4,000 for any dependent or sibling over the age of 16. I'd like to talk a little about processing time. From the minute that an application comes into the unit to the time when approval is granted, it's approximately 90 days by law. Within St. Kitts and Nevis, we are the only country that offers an expedited fast-track solution. So for an additional fee, one would most likely get their application within 45 to 60 days. A lot of what we do is dependent on due diligence. So therefore, we go on the long side of 60 days on the fast track and 90 days on the normal. There are also investment opportunities in St. Kitts, and investment opportunities, as we mentioned, in real estate. There are many opportunities in our attempt to diversify the economy through agriculture and food production, food processing, medical tourism, alternative energy, light manufacturing, and information technology. These are opportunities that can be offered to you as you gain citizenship into St. Kitts and Nevis. And as the Prime Minister mentioned, it is our greatest desire for you to come to St. Kitts and Nevis and to invest in the country that you are now a citizen of. Thank you. This is the website and the contact information for the Citizenship by Investment program in St. Kitts and Nevis. Thank you, Donna, and thank you, audience.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Khan. We have got a couple of questions that maybe I can ask you to answer. First of all, we spoke about siblings. A question has come up. What about elderly or grandparents or parents? Are they eligible to be included by the main applicant in their application?
In terms of the main applicant, our legislation states that it's the spouse and the dependents. And then in recent legislation, we added siblings. However, once an individual becomes a citizen, they can apply for their parents. So that will bring in the parents or the grandparents of the applicant.
Thank you. And then the next question I'd like to direct to you is a question about children under the age of 10.
Under the age of 10?
What are children under 10 years old?
Children under 10 years old will still have to be, the cost of that will be $10,000, but they will not have to go through the due diligence. The due diligence requirement, which would be $4,000 for a dependent, would not be charged on a child under the age of 14.
Thank you so much. We have a number of other questions. Let me just go through them. But we also have another poll that we'd like to do. Can we do the poll quickly now while I go through the remainder of the questions? Can we put the poll up? Thank you. We just heard what is mandated by law in terms of response time from the Citizenship by Investment unit. One final question for you, Mr. Khan, well, at this time, is there anything that can extend that time period beyond the 90 days?
Absolutely. The 90 days is based on the fact that an application and all of the necessary documents and all of the detail that is provided by the applicant is as clean as possible. If during the due diligence process, we identify situations where information on the application doesn't match with what we received in our due diligence, or we need further clarification on source of funds, proof of wealth, etc., we can and will put in a request. It's called a query, a request to the agent asking for additional information. That request, usually from our records and historical information, indicates that it takes the client about an additional 45 days to respond on the average. So if the application is going beyond the 90 days, the chances are there is a query and we're waiting on a response from the agent or the client. And then we go through further due diligence or vetting processes.
Thank you so much. I am now going to end this question and answer period. We'll have a second one at the end and turn this over to Carl Walwin, our Chief Sales and Marketing Officer, for the next portion of this program. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Donna. My name is Carl Walwin. I'm the Chief Marketing and Sales Officer for the St. Kitts office of the Fairway Group. We're going to start our look at St. Kitts with a couple of slides that begin with frigate-based strip. The frigate-based strip is probably the most known aspect of a place of entertainment in St. Kitts. And you'll notice that it looks a lot different from when I visited you in Nigeria last year. Notice this big archway, this triangular entrance, dramatic entrance to the strip. That is what I have to say was an astonishing, for me, part of what happened during COVID, the use that was made of the time when COVID was in effect and we were not accepting visitors or people coming into the island. And what the government, I don't know, it's really amazing to me, because what it shows is that the government and the Frigate Bay Development Club has revamped the whole strip. There are now new buildings, there are new places where you can go, and most importantly for me, if you look at the top left corner, they have added washrooms every 20 feet. This may not seem like a big thing, but believe me, if you're a tourist who's been out drinking all day, this is one of the most important additions to the strip. So I have to first of all congratulate those responsible for the perspicacity to envision what should be happening during these restrictions and the perspicuity with which to execute it. If you look at some of the buildings are now more hurricane resistant. Some of them have been raised in the traditional Caribbean view so that flooding will not be an aspect. Remember that we had on our trip to Lagos and Abuja, we had showed and illustrated for you some of the restaurants and places of entertainment that were on the strip. Natural kind of attrition has changed this profile, next slide, but what has happened in the meantime is a whole new set of vibrant and compelling additions have been made. This is the new Coconut Grove. I think it's only about a month old. And the thing about these particular new offerings is that they came up, they emerged during the time of COVID. So they already have the COVID regulations, the COVID seating, COVID protocol already in place. In this case, of course, it's an affable, congenial Australian who you see in the bottom right corner, who really makes the place a delight to have at the place for coffee. Asian Voyage is another offering, again, brand new. I think this has only been open for a couple of weeks. And they offer Asian cuisine and the ability to practice your chopstick skills. Next. This one has a special place in my heart as a hypertensive. And within 200 steps from the residences that we are going to propose for you, I can get my prescription filled, I can speak to a pharmacist whom I know by name, and all of the other kind of little things that may come up, especially if you're traveling with kids or elderly people, that can be addressed here. Next. Land's Kitchen speaks for itself. It's a place that I love. I love to go there and read. My favorite time is when Joe is preparing tea in the evening as I'm reading, and it's quiet and there's hardly anybody else in the place. Rams, of course, is like your traditional in Canada. We have them as 7-Elevens, Piggly Wiggles in the US, any kind of convenience store where you can get fresh fruit, vegetables, and all of the things that you wish you had remembered to bring on your trip. Rams is a place for you, and that's within 100 steps, literally, of your door. Next. My favorite place is Sweet and Savory for breakfast. They do an amazing job of pastries, of breakfast, of lunch. The Powerball is world renowned. And also they make the most fantastic cakes that you can find. Creativity as art. If you come along, when I was doing the seminar in Lagos, one of the best, the drone footage that showed traffic jam at Frigate Bay brought the most gasps from the audience, because if you've been to Lagos traffic and compared it with the non-traffic of Frigate Bay, you can understand why the participants found it so compelling. But as you come into and towards the property from the Frigate Bay Strip, which forms a kind of right angle or L to the Zenway Boulevard, you'll find the golf course on your left. You find the buildings that are Fairway condos just immediately from the street, and you'll find the Atlantic Ocean on the right. If you go really far left, you'll also find the Caribbean Sea. So in this narrow pathway in between the Caribbean Sea on one on the left and the Atlantic Ocean, you have what we call Hotel Alley, and all along the pathway on the right are a number of hotels and places to stay, and ending in, of course, the branded Marriott and the Royal St. Kitts, where we have our offices. So here's what we're proposing. There are some buildings, the last remaining spot in St. Kitts on the Frigate Bay Strip, the most popular Zenway Boulevard section of it, that became available. We grabbed it. And the second slide just underneath it shows how we hope that this property will come. And we should be starting within a matter of weeks. We hopefully are going to be beginning construction on this. If you're looking from the top, and here's where we start talking about the real estate aspect of it. You'll see that the buildings, there are 4 buildings separated, and that view that you just saw with the rendering is a representation of this. We have the pool, you have the cabana, you have the golf course, and then on the other side, you will have the ocean. What I found most compelling, I come from a family of 8 kids. And what I found most compelling and what attracted, I think, everybody to this project was the size of the units. In other words, like many other developments, CBI developments, that depend on the number of shares that can be allotted, there's a tendency to pack as many units as possible into the smallest footprint possible. We went against that trend, preserving, and it's not just a walk down nostalgia lane, preserving the size. If you take a quick look at this without measurements, you can tell from this kitchen, the full kitchen that's there, and the size of the bedrooms, that this is not your normal hotel type accommodation. These are large units which are going to be luxuriously appointed for the discerning tourist. And as you can see from the following side, you can see that what we offer with the large floor plans is maximum flexibility. In other words, if you're in a small unit, you cannot go bigger. However, if in a large unit, you can always go smaller. You don't have to pull out the pull-out couch unless your maybe other friends come down, but at least it gives you the flexibility to do it. I personally live in a unit at the Marriott Residences. It's 414 square feet. Of course, it has everything as I need as a bachelor, but literally when I smile, my teeth touch the wall. It is so small. So here's what we're offering. Invest in this real estate project with the Fairway Group. Invest in the share option, the prices of which will be discussed with you, and you'll get a passport and citizenship. You'll also get an underlying asset with a projected annual rate of of investment. You'll get a local address, not a post office box, which nobody pays any attention to, but an actual physical address showing that you're a citizen of St. Kitts, Nevis, and here is where you reside, or certainly here's where you have a residence. And because of that, you'll have a complimentary 7-day stay at this boutique, luxurious hotel every year. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope that if there are any questions, we will wait for them after the seminar. We're available, and also, of course, by email, etc. Thank you very much, Donna, and the rest of the team. Prime Minister, it was great to hear that resounding oath of gravitas that you brought to the table. Thank you very much.
Carl, thank you so much. We'll now turn it over to Hogarth. L'Oreal, next slide, please. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And yeah, as L'Oreal, or as Donna indicated, I am the Chief Legal Officer of the Fairway Group. And today I'm going to be talking to you about the financial mobility. And really, the one thing I want you to come away with after I speak is that what Fairway is offering you today is basically much more than just a chance for you to obtain a second passport and shares in our Fairway condominium hotel. What we're offering you is the ability to create a brand new, financially secure, stable, and flexible lifestyle. The one thing that we have learned that Donna reflected on in her opening remarks was the recent social uncertainty, economic distress, and political tensions worldwide. And that basically, because of this, people require the flexibility to be able to get away from unstable situations, regardless of whether the instability relates to political unrest, massive government debt, by the way, which is going to increase dramatically because as a result of COVID, a depressed economy, or in-country health risks. We all desire the flexibility to avoid and get away from instability. And really, this flexibility is, this flexibility requires two elements to it. It requires financial mobility and passport mobility. We've already discussed the passport element of how you can effectively, with a second passport, be able to go to a variety of other locations around the world with the St. Kitts passport, but also there's the financial mobility aspect of it. If all your assets are locked in one country or in one currency, then your ability to avoid a turbulent or unstable situation may be very limited, even if you have a second passport. What Fairway is offering you today is a total financial mobility with security and privacy. We will not only work with you to obtain your citizenship passport and allow you to invest in the Fairway Hotel, but we will also work with you to open up new bank accounts in St. Kitts and Nevis and create a new financial identity in St. Kitts and Nevis with a new local residential address for banking purposes. Fairway has partnered with Hamilton Reserve Bank just so that we can provide this financial mobility option. Hamilton Reserve Bank is an international bank who's with a principal branch located in Nevis. The main attributes of the bank would be they have over $1.1 billion US in deposits from their clients. They have a fortress balance sheet, meaning that they're debt-free with a capital ratio approaching 100%. And basically, Hamilton Reserve provides zero credit exposure for their customers. And this is because the bank adopts a no lending policy, has a very, very strict no lending policy, which means no bank capital or customer deposits are exposed to any credit risk. Also, deposits are ultra safe. Customers' deposits are either put into cash or put into sovereign bonds, offering the highest level of deposit liquidity and security. And finally, the bank offers, well, not finally, but one of the main attributes that we appreciate from the bank is they offer strict customer confidentiality. The laws in St. Kitts and in Nevis are very good from a privacy perspective, but I think the bank goes above and beyond in this scenario and provides excellent protocols for security and privacy. So once we basically, what we plan on is after you apply to for the citizenship program and apply to acquire shares with Fairway, during the process, we would assist you in opening up a bank account. With that bank account, basically, you can wire transfer funds into a US dollar account or a euro dollar account, and thus avoid currency devaluation risks that might be associated with local currencies. You can also access your funds electronically, and if you like, we can help you set up a Nevis International Business Corporation or a Nevis Trust to operate business ventures or investment structures around the world. The Nevis bank account coupled with the Nevis Trust or International Business Corporation will give you the ultimate financial mobility for worldwide commerce. Really, again, the one thing you can take from this portion of the presentation is Fairway is ultimately offering you three things. Number one, a new, stable, and secure jumping off point for international commerce. Number two, we're coupling that with visa-free travel around the world. And of course, the opportunity to invest in an excellent condominium hotel opportunity. That's it for my section. It's short but sweet, and I'll turn it over to Donna. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go to our last question period, we'll round out the hour by hearing from Chief Anthony Digbe. L'Oreal, can you put that slide up, please? Thank you. Chief Digbe, you heard from earlier. He has been quite active in the chat, and thank you so much for that. An invaluable partner to us and one of the founders of the Fairway Group. Chief Digbe, over to you.
Thank you so much. Honorable Prime Minister, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. And I welcome everybody to this webinar. And to say that St. Kitts is a beautiful country. I have been there and I have seen it. First of all, not just that it's a beautiful country. If you go to St. Kitts, you will find out that it is home. I remember when I attended the masquerade or the carnival, and I saw the culture. It reminded me of Abasa Juju in Warri. Honestly, that was what it was. Abasa Juju in Warri. The culture is so similar. I felt so much at home. It's incredible. But you have to experience it. You have to go there. Talking about this investment, or why we are here. The first thing is that I love Nigeria. Nigeria is a beautiful country made up of extremely beautiful people, talented people. So I love Nigeria and I want to always be associated with Nigeria. However, according to Aristotle, even in a state of self-sufficiency, man still needs a little more than what he has. And because of that need, there was always exchange necessary. In order to do any exchange for the few things that a self-sufficient man does not need, that does not have, he has to go out and gather. And then when you go back to the history of gathering, or the hunter-gathering man, you find out that that was how immigration started. So immigration is in the DNA of man. It has always happened. Hundreds and thousands of years when the human being came into being in Africa, because it has to, the human being has to do a little bit of exchange, started moving around the world to Europe, to Asia, and to Australia by canoe. Then there has been the intervention more recently of other factors like colonialism, etc., that also expanded immigration. But the key point is that there's nothing wrong with immigration. It is normal. The second thing that I want to say is that there is globalization. Globalization is driven by international trade, the movement of capital. In other words, money moves everywhere. Money does not know boundaries. Trade does not know boundaries. If you have a product, you want to sell it anywhere, you don't want any national boundary to stop you. The same thing, labor moves across boundaries. Now, technology in terms of internet does not know boundaries. We are all here scattered in different parts of the world. I see that there are people who have joined from Turkey, people from Nigeria, people from all parts of the world, Canada, are on this webinar, St. Kitts. So the technology itself does not know boundaries. So for these 4 reasons, globalization, you need to be able to move over and above boundaries. Now, when we talk about Nigeria, if you are a business person, an entrepreneur, or even if you are you have skilled labor, you are a professor, you are a doctor, you are a lawyer, you have some skill. You want to be able to have mobility to move across borders. National borders are artificial, created by man as a result of history. So you have to overcome it, like those who overcome trading border, etc. But then if you are holding a Nigerian passport, what is the challenge that you have? The statistics from the Global Passport Index shows that the Nigerian passport is ranked 70th in the world with a mobility score of 44. And it has only visa-free access to 20 countries and visa on arrival to only 24 countries. In total, the Nigerian passport has 22% world reach. The Henley Passport Index, first quarter 2021 global ranking, as at 6 January 2021, ranked Nigerian passport as 97th in the world, with a visa score of 46. So the Nigerian passport is only slightly above the passport of places like Palestinian territory, which is 37, Somalia, Yemen, Pakistan, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan. From the above, it is quite clear that unlike passports of leading countries like Japan, Germany, United Kingdom, United States, which give access to over 120 countries, access to global mobility and immigration provided by the Nigerian passport is limited and restricted. The result is that Nigerians lose business opportunity. You cannot travel, you cannot attend to business meetings, to important conferences, etc. And we'll soon get out of the pandemic where you need to travel. So what's the lasting solution? I think the offer has been clearly made that a second passport from a country that can give you global mobility, immigration in terms of movement, and also financial mobility is the solution. So I will not repeat all what has been said about the solution. I just want to deal with 1 or 2 issues that have to do with Nigeria. To say that under Section 41 of the Constitution of Nigeria, it guarantees free movement of persons. In other words, under Nigerian Constitution, you can go anywhere you want to go to, including going abroad. What is very interesting, if you remember the sugar bar case, not only can you go to anywhere you want to go to, as a Nigerian citizen, you can come back to Nigeria. Nobody can stop you. When they tried to stop sugar bar from coming back to Nigeria, the Supreme Court said, no, you cannot stop a Nigerian from coming back into Nigeria. So what does that say? Even if you go out, you can always come back into Nigeria and nobody can stop you. And also, you cannot forfeit your citizenship. Under Section 28 of the Constitution, you cannot forfeit your Nigerian citizenship because you took a foreign passport. And there are cases to this effect. In addition, under Nigerian law, the fact that you have a second passport cannot stop anybody from stopping you from contesting for elected office. There are cases, if you look at Obeide against Osula case, PDP against INEC, these are cases that have held that holding a second passport is not unconstitutional. You cannot stop a Nigerian from contesting election because he's holding a foreign passport. So that having been said, I just want to add to the issue about the benefit of this second passport. Now, the St. Kitts one, it is special. It is not like any other passport. The reason is because St. Kitts, you have seen the Prime Minister. Doesn't he look like your brother on the street or your uncle or your cousin? So if you go to St. Kitts, you will see the connection between that country and Nigeria. Then you will see that all these boundaries are artificial. Now, other countries are very strategic. If you take Israel, for instance, they have a right of return for any person who is a Jew. Automatic right of return. The same issue, the British have a right of return for every British, even up to today. They have right of return. They'll give you a British passport. So why don't we break these boundaries? It's not an issue of pride. People saying, oh, why do I have to give up? Why do I have to take a second passport? I'm supposed to be a proud Nigerian. You are a very proud Nigerian, even with your second passport. It's just that you have made a strategic decision to connect and to position yourself and your business to be able to play globally in that globalized world with less restriction. As you are seeing all the restrictions that are coming in, if you look at the backlash, you go back to the Trump era, you look at Brexit, you see the effort to restrict globalization. There's sort of deglobalization going on. Then from a strategic point of view, you have to take a decision to align strategically to overcome those barriers to globalization so you can position your business. Why should it be other people that will be able to play globally? Why shouldn't we be able to play globally? And why shouldn't we be able to do it strategically with those that we have the greatest affinity with? So that for me is the crux of the issue. That when you make this decision, it should be a strategic decision. And you want to go to somewhere where you will not feel strange. I remember I spent one New Year at St. Kitts, and we went to church for New Year Mass. And then in the church, I think I wanted to ask a question. And so there was a young lady sitting by my side. And I wanted to make an inquiry as to when the Mass will begin, because I didn't really know. So I turned and asked the person, so when will the Mass begin? And then when she spoke, I said, wow, are you a Nigerian? She said, yes, she was from Nigeria. I couldn't tell from how she looked because we all look the same. And I said, what are you doing here? She said she's studying medicine there. There's so many. They have medical schools, nursing schools, all sorts of, and it's the easiest way through that place you can now go into North America, particularly as a medical personnel. So I felt so much joy. I felt I was at home on that day. In conclusion, I want to say that a second passport is not a threat to the sovereignty of Nigeria. It's a necessary and imperative instrument for professionals entrepreneurs, businessmen and women to extend their market. Let nobody trap us in the contraption called Nigeria when we can play in a global stage. I recall I used to have clients from Lebanon, clients from Israel, and they will be in Nigeria doing business. They make money, they send to Israel, they send to Beirut. The same issue. You can make money anywhere. It doesn't make any difference. And you can send it to St. Kitts, and you can send it to Nigeria. You can go back to Nigeria. You can build a global brand with branches all over the place. Let us talk about myself. Today, I live partly in Toronto. I live partly in Lagos. If you ask me where I actually stay, I will tell you that I'm a global citizen. I had that vision, and the reason was I felt I needed to be able to have access to knowledge. Although I have been living abroad for almost 10 years, it has not limited my investments in Nigeria. My business is still operating, at full scale and growing every year in Nigeria and also abroad. Let us not trap ourselves in the territory. Our next threat is not the geographical expression called Nigeria. Our next threat is West Africa, is Africa, is the world. It is how we can position ourselves to play globally. And therefore, you need to make sure you have everything you require to play on a global scale. The St. Kitts and Nevis Citizenship by Investment program, which is the first citizenship by investment program in the world, as the Prime Minister said, established since 1984, is a credible and one of the best ways to achieve the objective of not just a second passport, but a good investment in the Fairway project that will give you the returns that you need and give your family the peace of mind of global mobility and financial security. Thank you very much.
Well, I promised you a fast-paced and information-packed session, and I'm pretty sure I delivered. I mean, we began with the Prime Minister. We are ending on those strong and powerful words from Chief Tigbe. Thank you all so much. We are 13 minutes past the hour. There are a number of questions. We are not going to get to all of them. I encourage you, please, to contact us directly, but we're offering you a single gateway to a whole new life. New citizenship, new passport, real estate asset with retained value, annual return on investment, a local address, the ability to do offshore banking, an international bank, business registration. Please do not hesitate to contact us. We are happy to respond to your questions. There are a couple that have come up in the Q&A, and I'm going to open these to anyone. There are a number of questions that are related to the and perhaps maybe I can direct this one to Les, related to the investment, the $150,000 investment that, Les, you were speaking of it, and the time limited investment. And the questions revolve around what you get besides the passport for that, whether there is an investment portion to it, whether there's any money that gets returned. I think the answer is no, but I'd like maybe, Les, if you could respond to that series of questions.
You're quite right. The $150,000 is our Sustainable Growth Fund, and it's a direct contribution to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. It's a non-refundable contribution. So In return, that's citizenship and the passport that comes with it. Again, I'd like to reiterate that the 150,000 at its current standing with a limited time offer is for a family of 4 for 150,000, whereas previously it would have been 195,000.
Thank you so much. There are a couple of questions that are also related, and Mr. Prime Minister, I don't want to put you on the spot, but there are a couple of questions related to the possibilities of investment in healthcare and investment in information technology, and whether there's any consideration being given to expanding the investment opportunities in the Federation. Again, I don't want to put you on the spot, but we would be...
I'm not on the spot. I think it's a very good question, and I have a good answer. The answer is yes, that we have recently introduced the alternative option, which provides, if you will, a third opportunity, a third offerings for persons interested. And that alternative option would certainly cover investment in healthcare, investment in ICTs, investment in any other priority area determined by the government to be in the national interest. The digitalization of St. Kitts and Nevis is very important to us. Indeed, it is digitalization that has kept us together and even facilitated this webinar today. And so we want to build out that more. And one of our companies, the cable, would be a major catalyst in the build out of our program for digitalization. Health is an important one, and of course the pandemic reinforces that area. We want to have a sophisticated system. We have one of the best primary care because our emphasis has always been on prevention. We learned very long ago that prevention was better than the cure. And that is why even in our response to the pandemic, we say we have a life strategy first. Life, then livelihoods. Without life, no livelihood to promote and defend. And that is why we put every effort in keeping our people safe as our first precautionary response to the pandemic. So in short, those 2 areas will be covered under the alternative investment portfolio.
So this is super exciting. Prime Minister, would it be fair to say that this group is literally one of the first groups to hear about this new alternative investment opportunity?
It certainly will be one of the first groups to have heard about it from me. It's something that we have been working on with a lot of interest from prospective people. And so we encourage others. Lescan will be best placed to say when officially we launch it, but we have put in place a legal framework to allow for that third option. Real estate, the Sustainable Growth Fund, and now the alternative investment.
You heard it here first, folks, and one of the other things that the Fairway Group can now promise you is breaking news on what's happening on the ground in St. Kitts. Thank you so much, Prime Minister, for addressing that. Look, we are way over time at this point. L'Oreal, can you just put up our slide once again with the contact information? We know that there are a lot of outstanding questions that we have not answered. Please do not hesitate to contact us. And I would like to now just turn the floor over to any of our panelists for any closing words. You've heard excellent sort of breaking news from the Prime Minister. We're very excited about that. Look forward to working with you more closely on that alternative solution. You have heard from Les Khan, the CEO of the Citizenship by Investment Unit. I'm sure we'll be speaking to him more about the legal framework that will define this new alternative investment. And you've heard from the management team at the Fairway Group. We, again, would be happy to respond to any additional questions that you have. Keith, perhaps I can leave any last or closing words to you, if you would, sir.
Thank you so much. I would just like to thank the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris, the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, and to thank the shareholders of Fairway, as well as the management team, and to also thank Liz Khan, who has been a very supportive government official. Also to thank everybody for attending today, and to say again, to reiterate that this is an investment program. And I know that there are many questions, but remember, it's an investment program and it offers you great opportunity for global mobility. It offers you great opportunity for financial mobility. It offers you great opportunity for choices. It offers you great opportunity for security and risk management. And there is nothing to be ashamed about it. It is in the DNA of the human being to move around in order to be able to get something extra to exchange for other things that a human being needs. So pursue these passions. If you have those feelings, pursue it. It is normal. As the world develops, those who do not have mobility will be at a disadvantage economically. You can already see it when you look at the statistics. The Nigerians in diaspora are sending in over 25 billion annually to Nigeria. So it is clear that whatever they are doing abroad is bringing some income to them. But the idea really is not for you to immigrate in any permanent sense. That is not necessarily the concept. The concept we're selling here is not for you to run away from Nigeria. The concept that is being sold here is for you to have a choice to be able to move around. Still maintain your connections with Nigeria as much as possible. But if you wish, have the alternative to be somewhere else. And that is the essence of the program. Please contact us. You can contact office. You can contact Fairway. The emails are all there. In fact, Donna has just placed her WhatsApp number. You can contact her directly, or you can contact Akin in Punuka, or you can contact info@punuka.com, or the emails that are here, and we'll put you in contact. If you need any session to understand the issues very well, we would provide that. If you require the slides, just email Donna and it will be provided. Donna and the rest of the management team are there to guide you through the process. I want to assure you that it will be a good investment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and thank all of you for your investment already in the Fairway Group by spending this time with us. I hope that we have delivered for you food for thought, and I look forward, Carl looks forward, Hogarth looks forward to speaking with you soon. Thank you all, and have a great rest of the afternoon. Happy Friday. Goodbye, everyone.